All right, I am going to give you guys my Monster Hunter Wilds weapon tier list. I'm going to be ranking all 14 weapons in Monster Hunter from D tier to S tier on how good I think the weapon is. Not necessarily their speed runs, but how good I think the weapon is. So getting straight into the tier list, at rank D, and the only weapon sitting in the D rank is going to be the hammer. So as of right now, the hammer has significant issues, but the developers know about these issues and say that they are going to be rolling out a buff sometime in late May, I believe. So hopefully around that time, the tier list will be updated, because I think the hammer is one of the most fun weapons in the entire game, but it's unfortunately just not performing. It has super long animation windups that deal not enough damage, that can also just get hit out of it. Like, why does the switch axe have hyper armor and the hammer doesn't? It's just like, you know, it just needs some buffs. Moving on to our C rank, the next lowest weapon in my opinion is going to be the lance. At this point, pretty much all of the weapons are usable. Like, if I see any of these weapons on my team, I'm not like pissed or anything. I personally would never probably solo with lance because it's just boring and will take forever. The best way I could think to describe the lance is being just like a super tank. It's very survivable and you probably won't fail hunts with the lance, but its damage is horrendous. But on top of that, it's kind of just boring. You're just sitting there poking. Next up on the tier list, we have the bow. The bow was a little bit difficult for me to put in C, but I just don't think the damage is there to put it into B. It's definitely on the bottom of my list personally on things that I would want to play, because one, it's just not dealing crazy damage numbers, and two, just in general, those ranged weapons I find a lot more boring to play. It's almost like playing a magic build in Elden Ring, but like less powerful, and the fights just take longer. Like, part of the fun, in my opinion, in Monster Hunter is getting in that monster's face, dodging its attacks or parrying or whatever. And for things like the bow, the light bow gun, and the heavy bow gun, I mean, when you're just off in a distance, kind of just, you know, shooting like you're playing Call of Duty, it's just not my favorite, I'm gonna be honest. However, the bow, if you get good at it, you can almost like never get hit. It has something called a perfect dodge, which is unique to the bow, and if you dodge at the right time, just kind of how like it sounds, you have follow-ups that you can do, you have larger iframes, you cover a larger distance. Made me debate on putting this weapon into B, but I mean, there's so many weapons in B and A right now, I think it's good at C. Moving on to B tier. The next weapon I have is the hunting horn, and the hunting horn is weird. It's very special because right now I have it at the bottom of B, but it can definitely even move up to A depending on two things. One, how good you are with the hunting horn. I think the hunting horn has probably one of the highest skill ceilings in the game. And two, how many people are in your team. I believe it has worse damage numbers and slower speedrun than even the hammer, and the hammer's like broken. But that's because the hunting horn is more of a support weapon. It can heal, it can buff, I'm pretty sure it can debuff. So if it could do all that and then also just had like insane damage, then this weapon would just be busted. That being said, if you're in a full group, I love having hunting horn on my team. I love it. The heals are awesome, the buffs are awesome, and I also feel like whenever I have a hunting horn on my team, I feel like the monster is constantly staggered. So as of right now, I have it in low B, because if you're by yourself, this shit is literally D. It's worse than D. But if you're in a full team, it can probably be low A, so we're gonna kind of meet in the middle and say low B. Next in A, I have the dual blades, and this kind of hurts my soul. Probably the most fun weapon in the game, in my opinion. Obviously everybody's gonna have their own thing, but I've always been like in any game, like any MMO, I've always played like the assassin type or the rogue type that's like quick, doing a whole bunch of burst damage, a lot of hits at the same. I just think it looks badass. However, I will say that the dual blades compared to other Monster Hunter games is lacking a little bit, so it is on the bottom half of B tier right now, which is very respectable, but a lot of the times dual blades is going to be at least an A, if not S tier. We'll see if that changes in the future. Next in line, which I'm very surprised about, is going to be the heavy bowgun. And I'm surprised because of one specific thing. I very much expected the heavy bowgun to be a lot better than the light bowgun. Like in most Monster Hunter games, the light bowgun I think is like one of the worst guns. Wow, I actually just said one of the worst guns, like I'm making a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 loadout right now. It's ridiculous. One of the worst weapons is what I meant to say in the game, but here it's not. It's having very competitive damage numbers. Again, the only downside for both the heavy bowgun and the light bowgun bowgun is that I just don't like the play style. Anyway, the heavy bowgun is very dependent on the monster that you're fighting. The bigger the hitbox and also just like the shape of the monster really depends on how well each of these weapons, these ranged weapons, perform. Moving on, in the top spot of B tier, we have the light bowgun. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie, light bowgun has surprised me. It really has. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really touched the light bowgun too much, but I've watched quite a bit of light bowgun, just like how to play and like some speed runs and stuff. And from what I've noticed, it's taking advantage of this mechanic that allows you to just like burst all of your ammo out at once while you're dodging. So all the gameplay that I've seen is literally just like that burst attack while you're dodging, burst attack while you're dodging, burst attack while you're dodging, reload, burst attack while you're dodging, burst it. Like it looks super boring in my opinion, but also kind of satisfying because it looks like you're just constantly putting out damage. And never in 1,000 years did I think that light bowgun would be borderline A. So let's just take a moment. Well done. Well done. Moving on into A tier. At the bottom of A, which hurts my heart a little bit because this weapon is probably my favorite weapon in the game, the long sword. I haven't played it in a little bit because I'm trying other weapons, but as of right now, it's still my favorite. I think the moveset looks the coolest. I think the play style is a lot of fun. It's very reactive of how the monster attacks, and it almost feels like a dance. It's a little bit unfortunate to me that the Helmbreaker, you know, that big attack where you launch into the sky and like do the like... I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. A little bit unfortunate that that is no longer viable. I mean, it's viable, you can use it, but like you're not going to get optimal damage numbers. But other than that, I love this weapon. I would consider it probably one of my mains. Not to mention that the best armor for this also kind of looks sick as fuck. Next in A, we got sword and shield. Sword and shield is up this high, not necessarily because it has insane damage numbers. By the way, it does have pretty good damage, but because of how easy it is to pick up. Sword and shield has probably the lowest skill floor and probably one of the higher skill ceilings. I'm not gonna say the highest. I think there are many weapons that are a lot harder than sword and shield, but there's definitely a lot of room to improve. And a good sword and shield player is having a lot of fun just smashing the monster in the face with his sword constantly, or dodging and parrying and perfect block. It's cool. It's a cool play build. Next up, we have the gun lance. Now, before I made this tier list, I was thinking that the gun lance was going to be near the top of S. The gun lance in the beginning had consistently the best speedrun times in the entire game, not to mention that it is super easy. This is the weapon that I was talking about earlier, where I said there's one weapon that's maybe not as fun, but it just makes every other, you know, monster fight just trivial. This is it. But on top of that, you do dumb damage, like dumb damage. Imagine the lance, but like you procced explosions with the lance, you know? I don't think that this weapon is as fun because it's like easier, but I don't think it's not fun because it's boring. I don't think it's necessarily boring. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. Like the first few times I was playing with it, I had a lot of fun because like you're doing dumb damage numbers. You are very interactive with the monster because you're blocking with the monster, trying to get like perfect blocks. It's very satisfying doing your big wyvern, whatever the fuck it's called, just launching a tactical nuke onto the monster's face, but you're pretty much doing the same exact thing over and over and over again the entire hunt. And after like 4 or 5 monsters, it just kind of gets like, I don't know, I just kind of want to play another weapon. But the reason it's not an S is because recently, I guess people have just been trying other weapons or just mastering other weapons, and it's just been getting lower and lower and lower on those speedrun rankings. But I have to put it in the top of A just because it's just like, if you're new to this game, use this weapon. And now to the final weapon of A, we have the Charge Blade. Fun fact, the first Monster Hunter game I've ever played was Monster Hunter World. And in that game, for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to start with the Charge Blade. The Charge Blade was known to be one of the most complicated weapons in the entire game. Actually, the most complicated weapon in all of Monster Hunter. But in Monster Hunter Wilds, with the new Savage Axe mode, where you're pretty much just spamming the Savage Axe and you're not doing your super heavy elemental discharge, whatever the fuck it's called, I forgot. The only difficult part is setting it up. You know, charging your shield, getting your files in, and then charging your axe. And after you have that set up, which is only the very beginning of the fight, the rest of the fight is so easy. You're literally spamming 3 buttons over and over and over again. And the Charge Blade did start by having very competitive damage numbers and speed run times. Again, as people, I don't know, started using other weapons, maybe it got lower and lower and lower. However, the reason it's at the top of A why is because this weapon, if you are good with it, absolutely stun locks the monster. It's ridiculous. You just go from stunning the monster to staggering the monster with your impact files to finishing wounds on the legs that will just knock the monster over to then stunning the monster again to then knocking him over again with your impact file. It's just like an endless combo of the monster not being able to do anything. I would like to test it. Actually, I need to make a video on that. I want to take 4 charge blade users and just launch them into a hunt, and I want to watch the chaos that this monster, this poor thing, is going to go through. Point is, it can be a little bit difficult setting up. Once you have this weapon set up, it's going to make the rest of your hunt a lot easier, and one of the easier weapons to use, again, once it's set up. This brings us to S tier. There are 3 weapons in S tier, and you probably already know what they are. You do already know what they are if you've been keeping track. On the bottom of S tier for me, it is going to be the Switch Axe. The Switch Axe in Monster Hunter Rise was my main weapon, and I would also consider the Switch Axe one of my main weapons in this game as well. It's a lot of fun. I think it's so satisfying. The animations are insane and they look sick, and the animations for the Switch Axe have always been one of the best in the entire game since I started playing Monster Hunter, which is back in Monster Hunter World. And on top of that, it has really competitive damage numbers. Not to mention it has very good stagger. It's just like kind of a very not well-rounded because it's kind of busted, but it has a little bit of everything. A lot of fun, looks really cool, both in animation and also just how the weapon looks. Not to mention that the big combo that you're going to be cycling has hyper armor, so even if you get hit, you're still landing that hit. Moving on to the next in S tier, it's going to be the Great Sword. I need to come back to the Great Sword. I started using the Great Sword, but I've never really mastered the Great Sword. It's always been a weapon that was just there. It was kind of fun. In my eyes, it was just like super easy. It's kind of one of those weapons that has a lower skill floor. Not the lowest because it's so slow and you do have to know the monster moves and like you have to have the good timing and stuff, but it has a pretty high skill ceiling with all the parries, all the knockdowns that you can do, all of that. I just really need to take the time and like actually master this weapon. I think that might be one of the next weapons that I try to master. That being said, I mean, look at this thing. It's an Oonga Boonga giant sword. This weapon has the most damage in like one number that you can get. I saw one guy in one video hit a monster in the face for 2,000 damage with one swing. 2,000 damage. That is both not okay and also disrespectful. It is consistently having one of the highest speedrun time. Well, okay, I guess lowest speedrun times, highest ranking in speedrun ranks. Not to mention, if you get good with like the counter, like parry, upward slash thing, it could be so satisfying. And then finally, at the top of our rank right now, and a weapon that I really need to get into more, we have the Insect Glaive. I may be wrong about this, but I feel like the Insect Glaive has never been a super competitive weapon when it comes to DPS. But in this game, I feel like the Insect Glaive is always at all times like either 1, 2, or 3 when it comes to the fastest times to hunt a monster. This is a weapon I'd also like to get into more and learn better. But I mean, look at it. It looks kind of sick. It's like a dual blade. You can fly up into the sky and do these sick combos. Not to mention its big attack. It's like a little whirlwind thing. Looks like a human tornado. It can mount monsters pretty easy, which again is also just free damage, not only for you, but also for your team. And I'm pretty sure it also has some kind of like support bonuses that it can do. I need to look more into the Insect Glaive again. And it's also just super interactive with the fights with, you know, the insect that you send out, gaining your buffs and all of that. So as of right now, this is going to be my top weapon in the game. And for the most part, this is unbiased. I really haven't touched Insect Glaive in Monster Hunter Wilds. I played a little bit of Insect Glaive in World and Rise, but it's never really been like my favorite weapon or anything. So I for sure gotta try it out. In the comments, let me know what your favorite weapon is. Next up, I'm planning on doing a build guide and a weapon guide for the gun lance. If you want to see either of the previous weapons, I did the charge blade and the long sword. They are right over here. And other than that, man, I'll see you guys in the next video. Turn this shit off.